Welcome to another edition of Steeler Nation Live. Big Tiz.
Big O.
Guys, the Steelers had another rough outing on Sunday. We'll talk more about that as the show goes on, but we have something that happened of the somber note to all the Steeler faithful in Steeler land.
That's true, Big Tiz. Not only did we lose yet another game to push us to 0-4, but we lost a beloved Steeler.
Right.
L.C. Greenwood.
Yeah, it's a long-time Steeler. You know, if some of you guys might be, if you're younger Steeler fans, you might not have seen him play too much, but you might have seen some good video of this guy. This guy was awesome, played alongside of Mean Joe Green, and awesome talent.
Yes, and also Ernie Holmes and Dwight White, which made up the foursome of the famous Steel Curtain in Pittsburgh. So there's a lot to talk about, a lot of history behind L.C. Greenwood.
Right.
Taken, number 10 in the draft in 1969. He was picked 9 players after. We all know who went number 1. Mean Joe Green.
Exactly. Well, like I said, he played for the Steelers from 1969 to 1981. Good span. Like I said, this guy was a formidable. He put that formidable front on that defensive line for the Steelers, right along, like he said, with Mean Joe Green, who was an awesome talent.
Yeah, and not to mention Ernie Holmes and Dwight White. But L.C. Greenwood was the front runner. I would say he was a front runner of the Steel Curtain. Not to take anything away from Mean Joe Green,
right?
But I do believe he was the leader of the fearsome. I don't want to say fearsome foursome because that's already taken. But the Steel Curtain of these 4 guys,
right? That
I do believe L.C. Greenwood was the leader, and also not to mention his whole stint was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. 4 Super Bowl rings in 6 years, Big Tiz. That's something to be,
Like I said, he was the part of a dynasty team there, and that was a nasty, nasty defensive squad they had out there back then.
That's when you could play football. Exactly. And like I said earlier, picked 10th, nine players after Mean Joe Green. That was fantastic. From a little college called Arkansas A&M back then, but now it's, what is it now? It's Pine Bluff. So it's put the college on the map. Also, exactly. And one thing that I'm not too happy about with all his credentials, playing with one team for so long, dedicated, made a special name for a defensive group of guys who throughout history it just dominated opposing teams, has yet to be enshrined into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, this guy posted 73.5 sacks in his career. Great numbers, not in the Hall of Fame. I don't understand it myself, and to me, to be honest, when I see someone like a Warren Sapp getting in before guys like this,
oh boy,
that kind of bothers me. But you know what? This guy was a great talent, and he deserved to be in. You guys need to think about that next time you start going and you start voting. This guy, along with the other line of great Steelers, he should be in.
I think he was passed up 6 or 7 times, Big Tiz, the first round balloting. But I think the people in the House should recognize him. See him for what he was and the person that, he is, but not any longer. He's just a great stand-up person in the community. Did a lot of work for a lot of charities in the Pittsburgh area, in his hometown. He did a lot of things that went unnoticed.
Right.
That, it's more special when you do something and you're not out there for the glory. Hey, look at me, this is what I did for my community. He just did it, didn't want to be recognized for it.
Right.
And a lot of people go unnoticed like that, but now we're just, bringing it to light.
Yeah, and it's something to behold. Like I said, this guy, he retired from the Steelers in 1982 from, major knee problems.
Right. And what's up with the gold cleats? A lot of stories behind that, Big Tiz. Now, if you're a Steeler fan as much as me and Big Tiz are, and you probably know the story, but for folks of you at home or watching and don't know the story, there's... it depends on who you talk to of why he had the gold cleats. But I'll tell you why he had the gold cleats. He suffered an ankle injury, which at the time really couldn't do much. So they put him in a high-top shoe.
Right.
Now, the black high-top shoe, he didn't like. It just didn't look right. And the other color out there was white, and he made a reference to Joe Namath. He didn't want to do anything with the Jets because Joe Namath had the white shoes, if you all remember that. So his friend said, hey, let's paint the shoes gold. Why not? So he was totally against it until he put them on. Now, there's 2 stories. Like I said, depends on who you talk to. After his injury was over, he was healed, and he didn't wear the high tops anymore.
Right.
And the Steelers lost that first game, so he put him back on. That's one story. The other story, which I believe came from LC, the reason why what happened was he'd get a sack or a tackle, and the announcer up in the booth would call out somebody else's name.
Right.
So every time he made a sack or a tackle, he would make sure that he rolled on his back and put his feet up in the air so they could see the gold cleats, so they know who made the sack and who made the tackle. Folks, look it up. You won't see it in Wikipedia, but for those of you Steeler fans at home, you know what I'm talking about. Look it up. Past games.
Hey, like I said, LC Greenwood, one heck of a talent. One part of that formidable front on the defensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to be sadly missed. LC Greenwood, 1946 to 2013.
Rest in peace, LC. We're going to miss you. Welcome back, Steeler Nation Live. I'm Big O.
I'm Big Diz.
And just want to reiterate that the passing of LC Greenwood is going to be sadly missed. And our hearts and prayers go out to friends and family associated with the Pittsburgh Steelers organization and the Greenwood family. Now, getting down to business, we lost yet another game, 0-4. Big Tiz. We talk about this every week. We have our laundry list. We have some ale. But still, if we're doing something, the right hand isn't helping the left hand.
Correct.
It just, nobody's talking to nobody. If the defense is on its game, the offense is nowhere to be found. And if they showed Sunday, it was total opposite. The offense showed up, but the defense was nowhere in sight.
Yeah, that's the problem with the Steelers as of late, that they have to learn to both play on the same page. And playing on different pages right now is really killing the Steelers. Like I said, the offense finally showed up in spurts, but they showed up. And they put up 27 points, possible, almost a 30, tie the game up at 34. But, as always, we get these late sacks that kill us or interceptions. So, well, you know what? We'll go right into what went wrong in the game. And one of the things that we'll get at the top of the list was the turnovers.
Turnovers. Like we talked about before, we give up the ball, we don't take the ball. And that hurts us even if we win the game. If you don't create turnovers for the next game, you got to create that momentum.
Exactly.
And we know how to do it. When we create a turnover, it's nothing, just willy-nilly, if you want to say. It's just when we do it good. We do it in situations where we're driving to score touchdowns, or we do it just when we don't want to, and it's heartbreaking.
Right. That's been a big issue. We had a turnover in that game when the Steelers they were trying to go down and score earlier in the game when Ben threw the pick, which hurt a chance for us to go, at least try to get back in it at that point. But we eventually got to the point where we did get back in it, but we turned the ball over again late in the game off of a sack.
Or how about this earlier, mid-second quarter, where we actually did force a fumble, was 3rd and forever for the Vikings. We couldn't recover it. They recover it, first down.
Right.
That's just par for the course. That's the way the season's going, Big Tiz.
Right now, the way we're playing, that's the difference between a championship team, and a team that's either trying to find themselves or trying to find themselves out of the championships.
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head right there. I think I don't want to say we're in transition, or I don't want to say that we're in some type of rebuilding process, because everybody on the team except for Velasco, we just picked up the center who was released from Tennessee last year. We have all the guys. The guys that are playing now have been on the team, except for first-round draft picks like Jarvis Jones, second-round draft pick Le'Veon Bell, Shamarko Thomas. Those guys I can understand.
Right.
But the meat and potatoes of the team that are playing right now, they've been there. It's not something where they throw the playbook at them and say, hey, here, learn this real quick, you're going to learn.
Right.
So we really can't actually say a rebuilding process, not to mention Tomlin's been around for a while. He's got a Super Bowl ring underneath his belt. Todd Haley, this is his second year, so he's got a little taste of what the Steelers organization is all about. So this rebuilding process is out the window. It's just trying to find ourselves, who we are right now. And it's interesting, a couple locker room interviews after the game, and we'll get back to this later in the show. Ryan Clark hit it on the head when he said that it's a bunch of X's and O's. It's not the coaches, because they present the game plan. It's the players out there themselves who must be accountable. They have to do what the coaches ask them to do, and right now the team isn't doing that.
Exactly, and that's, like I said, that's the difference between a team that's winning and a team that's sitting at 0-4. And one of the other things that went wrong in the game was the Steelers gave up way too many sacks. Don't get me wrong, Jared Allen, he's a talent on the outside, but Adams can't stop my grandmother right now.
Well, if you look at the highlight film on a couple plays, Allen was past him before Adams even got out of his stance.
Exactly.
Now I know Allen's a Pro Bowler. He's probably a first ballot Hall of Famer for the way he plays. You want to take nothing away from him. He's a great defensive end. However, you know what you're going up against. It's not like it was a surprise. This guy had a great game, a no-name player. This is Jared Allen. This guy lives to sack the quarterback, and he does it. He does it well. Mike Adams should have done some more homework. He should have been able. I know. There's a shoulda, coulda, woulda. But hopefully that he can take this experience and learn from it and adapt it to the next game when we play the Jets. I don't think they have any defensive ends on the Jets that are halfway comparable to Jared Allen.
Well, but the problem is, with the things that went wrong is the fact that if you have tackles that can't block, they can make any DN look good.
That's true.
And that's what's going on right now. I mean,
and Jared Allen had what, 2.5 sacks?
Yeah.
He contributed to
possibly could have had more.
Yeah, that's right. And there's a lot of play fakes that Roethlisberger did, pump fakes to get him off his feet and get around him. But there's the big plays too, Big Tiz. We're not stopping the big plays. One big play, two big plays a game that we're giving up. We're talking the 70-yard bomb. Well, I wouldn't call it a bomb, to Jennings.
Exactly.
Green Bay Packer has been. And Peterson, we don't want to take anything away from Peterson because
great talent.
He is one of the greatest running backs of all time.
Right.
And just when you run up the middle like he did to score that 60-yard touchdown, almost untouched, that boggles the mind. I don't understand. For a defense like the Steelers, to have somebody, he could have drove an airplane, rolled an airplane up the middle of the defensive line, and still scored untouched.
Well, we did talk about that in the last show, was the fact that a lot of times the Steelers aren't really getting that push up the middle on the defensive line, which they need. And you got to have that push up the middle so that'll force a quarterback to, if he's forced to step up, he's going to step up into a tackler. But obviously that's not happening right now. So there are a lot of key things that need to be taken care of. And the Steelers, thank God, there's a bye week coming up this week. So
right. Early in the game, we had a lot of up front and middle pressure. Had a couple balls knocked down. Castle was in there. And the thing about him, he was cool, calm, and unfazed. We have to get in his face.
Right. And
there was no pressure on the quarterback. The two big plays that we just mentioned, and the one forced fumble that we couldn't recover. And you put all that in motion, it's just not looking good, Big Tiz.
Right. But it wasn't just that part of the game, of our defensive game, that was bad. It was the fact of our secondary played horrific. Like, there were receivers, as far as I can see from looking at the TV, there were receivers that were open all over the place.
Yeah, and
I don't know if guys don't realize their coverages. Don't get me wrong, they still have some younger guys in there that's trying to, basically learn this new system, going on the Dick LeBeau. But the fact is, they're also trying to get coached on the field from Palomalo and Ryan Clark. So they have all these different things going on. So I hate to say it myself, but it's a team that's in transition.
Yeah,
once you look at it, it's a sad thing to say, but those days of the Steelers being the top dog right now look like they're kind of fading out the window. But you know what? Like I said before, in many shows before, but a Steeler team's a Steeler team. So the Steelers will find a way to fight back, but they just have to take care of these things that are wrong right now.
Right. It's still early. It's still early. We can rebuild from this. We can make the playoffs.
Anything's possible.
I said 12-4. We got the 4 losses out of the way, Big Tiz. So now it's nothing but wins for the rest of the season. That's what I'm looking forward to. And this is a perfect time for a bye. 0-4, regrouping. Now's the time to sit down for a week and say, hey, look, this is what's going wrong. How are we going to fix it?
Right.
And for people out there who are looking for coaches to be fired, folks, that's insane. That's ridiculous. Just imagine if you fired Haley or Tomlin. Where are you right now? You're already in the hole 4 games. And you bring a new coach in, what is that going to do to the team? And
to be honest, I really don't even think it's the situation with the coaches. I think the coaches, you can, like you said it earlier, you can lead a horse to water, but you know what?
You can't make it.
You can't make them drink it. You got to. You can show them how to drink it. You can kind of show them what do you do to drink it, but you can't make them drink it. And that's what's going on with these guys. These are phenomenal coaches that's trying to teach these guys. And I believe Haley wants to go to the short yardage game with the passing and everything, right, but he can't keep Ben upright long enough to do that because the blocking, which is the main focal point of attack for any offense, is the blocking. And our blocking is way below par. I mean, This is the worst blocking I've seen in Pittsburgh in like years.
I wouldn't even call it blocking. I would call it standing up and maybe getting in the way.
Right.
And Le'Veon Bell, we'll get to the things that went right, but Le'Veon Bell, most of his yards rushing were all on his own. But we'll talk about it in a few minutes. We're still on the negative side right here. Not the bash, but to bring out the points to say this is where we're going wrong and where we can fix it. And what I was shocked, not only did the defense let us down, but the special teams also let me down. And I'm pretty sure a bunch of Steeler fans out there, they let down as well. Punt coverage, kickoff coverage. In fact, one kickoff was almost out of the end zone, and the guy runs it up the middle to about the 40-yard line. Great. You want to take nothing away from him. Was it great return or just poor coverage, Big Tiz? What do you think?
I think it was a little of both. But I didn't like the way they put the special teams played in this game, but the special teams still kind of held. They had that bend but don't break mentality. So I will give them that part of it. But the fact is that we just played an overall horrible game from beginning basically to the end.
Right. Not to knock the special teams too bad, but Sean Swisham still hasn't missed a field goal yet. Yeah. Knock on wood. Don't want to jinx him, Big Tiz. But there is that bright spot, and Zoltan Mesko, he's coming down to earth, averaging punt, yardage yesterday. But still, I still want his jersey, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it.
Somebody, again, on the show, please get him the jersey.
That is Homer away, number 4. I'll take it. In care of Big O, SteelNationLive.net. You can send it. And if Zoltan, you're watching the show, which I'm pretty sure, I hope you are, hey, buddy, you can hook me up with an autograph as well and send it, in care of Big O, Steel Nation Live.
Well, you know what? And to just get on that point as well, the Steelers' defense gave up a 100-yard rusher and a 100-yard receiver, and almost another 100-yard receiver. I believe he had one of the other receivers for Vikings had 92 yards receiving. So, yeah, like I said, it wasn't a good day overall for the defense and the offense. They had plenty of their struggles as well with the blocking. And Ramon Foster actually left the game early.
He did. Undisclosed injury. Not sure if it's his knee, his ankle, his hamstring. Nobody's saying too much about it, so I'm not sure it could be that bad. They just want to check it out, make sure what they're looking at or what can possibly go wrong, as opposed to getting misinformation out there. So stand by, folks. Check out the website. As soon as we get the information, we'll put it out there to you. That's SteelNationLive.net.
Yep.
Check us out.
And actually, you know what? Since we went so long on what happened with the wrongs with the Steeler game against the Vikings, let's get with some of the rights.
Oh, there were a couple rights there, Big Tiz. There were a few, but they were pretty huge. And let's the big one, Le'Veon Bell, finally playing pretty much the whole game and did well.
It was a sad thing because I thought Le'Veon Bell would just come in and, especially with the way our blocking is, I figured maybe 10 to 15, 20 yards, 27 yards, and maybe that's about it. And not too much running because of him just coming back from
absolutely.
His off.
Right.
But the fact is that he played well. With the circumstances, with the blocking the way it is, he played decent.
Yeah, and he was my flex player on my fantasy team. He gave me 18 points. Thanks, Le'Veon. 2 touchdowns, almost ran for 60 yards.
Yeah.
And he had a couple passes out of the backfield, which would attribute to more yardage. But we didn't throw it in there. So we know he can catch. We know he can run. And the one thing I liked about him was the main yards he picked up after the first initial hit was pretty much on his own.
Right.
It was just what stopped him was the indecisiveness when he gets to the hole. That's his weak spot. And we talked about that during the draft show, that when he gets up to the line, if he doesn't hit a hole right away, he stops, and that's where they get him.
Right.
So I expect nothing but big things. And I do believe if you watch the game that the whole blocking scheme seemed to be different. I don't know, Big Tiz, maybe somebody was listening to us, but I really think they were doing some straight-up power run blocking.
I believe they were, and because I looked at some of the plays, and it looked like they were on some plays, but then you look at it's still that effect of the outside tackles not being able to contain,
That's right.
been on the outside with the defensive end. So that still has to be remedied. I don't know what they're going to do.
I also liked a couple play calling where they allowed the Vikings to come in and blitz, and they just dumped the ball off with a screen. That was fantastic. I loved it. Somebody's listening to us or somebody's... I don't know, because, folks, you watch our shows. We don't talk just because we love to hear ourselves. If we have some information and we think it's going to be beneficial to you, the fans, we're going to put it out to you. And we don't make this stuff up. We can't make this stuff up.
Right.
So we gather up our information and we give it to you, and we've been saying since day one, this is what, if we can't block and they're blitzing, let them come in and just dump the ball off. And now that we got Heath Miller back, that's another plus. Heath Miller had not a stellar day, but let's ease him back into this. He had pretty good game. We'll get into the stats later on in the show, but he didn't have a bad game. I don't think he dropped the ball at all.
No, Miller was a great contributor, and the thing about it is, we need Miller because Miller is a heavy blocking tight end, and we need that, especially when we got to help with people like Jared. Well, it kind of kills us in a way because you get a double-edged sword where we have to keep him in to help block on Jared, but then that means we lose another receiver out there. So that's why I said that tackle position has to be remedied.
Right, and getting back to Le'Veon Bell, his first professional rushing touchdown was the first touchdown that the Steelers had since December 15th of 2012. And you're probably saying, "Ooh, that's a real bad stat." Well, it is a bad stat coming from the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are known for their running game and
blocking and running.
Right, but the New England Patriots last night, they scored their first rushing touchdown as well, and they're 4-0. So nobody, when you're up there and you do these little things, nobody cares. But when you're down here, like we are, and we do these, everybody's watching. Everybody's got their eye on you.
Right.
So that's fine. Not 1, but 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's true. Another big thing in the game was the receivers are actually making good catches. They're catching the ball, and actually even some plays when I did see maybe Ben wasn't doing the right reads, I did see that we do have open receivers. So they're getting out there and they're getting open.
Right, like that amazing catch near the final drive with Brown, how he kept his eye on the ball. That was fantastic. However, I do believe if the defender would have went for the ball instead of going for the player, I think he had an interception. I'm glad he didn't. But that's what you got to do. I mean, all aspects of the game. Great concentration, great catch. It was fantastic, which set us up for a possible game-tying touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know what happened. Big Tiz.
Yep, a late sack.
And a
fumble. You know,
now, not to get into what ifs, but I don't like that horse collar, no call.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying that Ben was horse collared in that final tackle that they had, or sack, I should say. But the fact is that it's not a horse collar when you're in between the tackles.
That's true. I think that's a play, not because of what happened to us, but I think that's not only is that stupid, it's silly that that would be like a holding or face mask penalty.
Right.
But if you're in one area of the football field, you can do this and get away with it. As opposed to, it would be the same thing. You can cause an injury in the tackle area.
Of course you can.
As opposed to outside the tackle area.
Of course you
can. If you yank somebody down from the back of their neck and they pull them down in a position, I think it's even worse because you have multiple players trying to tackle you and sack you. So you got one guy going this way, one guy going this way, and then somebody grabs you by the back of your neck and pulls you back.
Yeah, but I think they're more or less looking at it from a speed factor of you going from running full speed to where a quarterback is basically standing still, or kind of like a jukish type move. But I do understand what you're saying, that there is that possibility of injury as well.
Oh, sure. The NFL needs to change that rule. If you're going to have the horse collar, have it.
Yep.
If you're not, don't.
I agree.
It should be at the whole field, almost like tripping.
Yeah, I agree.
We all know about tripping, don't we? But that's, we're always good for at least one big play we get screwed. And it's the way it is, folks. We talked about this before in past shows. We shouldn't let ourselves get in the position that we need to rely on the referees blowing a call or something like that.
Right.
We should put ourselves ahead, on top, and not worry about plays like that coming back to haunt us.
And you're right. And you said a mouthful there, and that's what it is. One thing I was impressed with in that game was the fact that the Steelers, they controlled the clock.
Oh,
and I mean, they ate up chunks of time. But when you eat up those chunks of time, you also have to put points on the board. And we didn't do a lot of that, but we did eat up a lot of the clock. And that's going to help, I guess, down the long run when we're trying to do some ball control if we ever get the line situation straight.
Right. A couple good things, or one good thing came out of it. We kept Peterson off the field.
Right.
And you see the two big splash plays that we gave up. When you control the ball for 36, almost half the time of the game, you usually come out with a W. But it's those two quick plays that killed us.
Exactly.
And not to mention, here's what I don't understand, and I don't think we talked about this or touched too much base on this. When the offense is out there controlling the clock as long as we did, that means the defense is on the sideline resting, getting ready.
Right.
What happened? I mean, do they not play when they're rested? Do they play better when they don't have any rest? You look at the past couple of games of how long the defense was out on the field and what they had to do to keep us in the game for the offense to give it away. Now it was the other way around. The defense was on the sideline most of the game. The offense was out there, and he still come in cold. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, like I said, this week with the Steelers being off is going to be so detrimental to them that they have to find ways to try to get past this. And as he said, Tomlin said on TV as well, he said that there's going to be a lot of jobs that's going to be lost.
Yeah, grabbing. Nobody's tackling out there. Grab. Let me tell you, it's not flag football, guys. It's not touch football. And to watch the defense not make those big hard hits, and it was
it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to watch.
Hey,
it was
hard to watch.
You know what? We're gonna bring in our main guy from out the West Coast, Rude Dog Reyes. He's gonna tell you guys what the feeling is out there on the West Coast, give you the vibe, so we here on the East Coast can see what's happening out there. Like I said, he's gonna be that puzzle that's gonna piece it together and put it from West to East Coast.
That's right, Rudy. What do you got for us, bud?
Steeler Nation, Big Tiz, Big O, what's going on, guys? Hey, wanted to let you know there's a lot of developments going on out here in the Southern California region for Steeler Nation. They're calling for Haley's firing. Again, it's another week of crying out for Haley, but you can't blame Haley for all the actions, all the activities, or the lack thereof if you're talking about that on the field. Currently, Ben Roethlisberger cannot hold on to the ball, but we have individual efforts that seem to amaze lots of Steeler fans across the country, and that's Heath Miller. The guy is just an unstoppable machine. Antonio Brown showed up in that game, and Le'Veon Bell, rookie, 2 touchdowns. Are you kidding me? The guy is a monster. Good on the inside, good on the outside, great slot receiver if that's what you want him to be. He has a great makings to be one of the best Steeler running backs, I think, in this century, and has the style to look like Jerome Bettis. As far as other developments go in the Steeler locker room per se, we have not yet heard anything as to any reprimands or who's going to get benched or what's going on as far as why the Steelers cannot seem to win a game, cannot seem to capture a lead, much less catch up to one from the other team. So as far as Steeler Nation out here is concerned, they're in disarray. But you know what? We're resilient. We can get it done. And Big Tiz, Big O, I'm out. But as I always say, I have one word, and that's Pittsburgh.
So when buying or selling a home, don't get frustrated or throw in the towel. Just call Dan Powell at 585-704-8324. That's 585-704-8324. Or email Dan at dan@rochhomefinder.com. That's Dan at ROCHOMEFINDER.com.
Hey guys, welcome back. We want to thank Rudy for doing another phenomenal job out there in the West Coast, bringing that vibe from the West to the East. Much needed here, especially we want to let everybody know how big Steeler Nation is, and this is the process where we're going to do it right here on Steeler Nation Live.
That's right. Congrats to Rudy for landing that other new job out there. Don't want to give any free, you know what I'm saying. But, yeah, congratulations getting that new job out there, Rudy.
Hey, you the man, Rude Dog. Hey, you know what? While the show is on, let's talk about the game stats from the Vikings game. Like I said, the Steelers put up a lot of minutes that they sucked out of this game, but the total yards went to the Steelers as well.
Yeah, for almost 500 yards total offense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a drastic change from game 1, game 2, game 3. This is game 4. We're not winning, but you know what? Like we talked about last week, Big Tiz, we're not at a standstill. We didn't hit that plateau. We're just flat.
Right. We're
steadily increasing, and we did a lot of good things. We already talked about that, but the stats are very, very impressive. Very impressive. But we talked about the time of possession. Steelers had the ball 36, almost 37 minutes, which kept Peterson off the field. Doesn't matter who's quarterbacking, but if you can get him the ball, he's dangerous. Penalties, 4 penalties for 50 yards for the Steelers, and we're usually at this point we're 8 to 9 penalties.
Yeah.
And we really didn't have a costly penalty that would stop us last Sunday against the Vikings, like a holding penalty on a big third down, a kickoff return penalties, blocking behind the back, holding or whatnot. So we're getting in step. The pieces are slowly coming together. And the killer are the turnovers.
Exactly.
Killers. We talk about this every show. It's not just us giving them the ball. We're not taking the ball. And I do believe we're the only team in the NFL right now without a turnover.
Yeah, that is unbelievable because we were a team that prided ourselves on taking the ball over or controlling the game with our defense, sacking the quarterback or causing so much pressure. Now it just seems like guys just back up and they do what they want to do.
Yeah, I just don't see the tenacity from the defense. It's the 4th game of the season. You got to stop walking through and 50% and just going through the motions. You got to give 100% every play.
Exactly.
And we're not seeing that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, with Steelers had the ball for 36 minutes and 27 seconds. I mean, 36 minutes, that's a great deal of the ball game. But like I said, but when you have the ball, you have to do something with it. So that's what's kind of killing the Steelers at this moment, that they're getting the ball and they're eating and chewing up the clock, but they have to do something with it.
Yeah, the Vikings, they had the ball 23, almost 24 minutes. But like we said earlier, those two big plays, how long did that take? The 70-yard bomb to Jennings and the 60-yard run for Peterson. He runs the 440 in 2 seconds? So that really didn't take a lot of time. It's just that when we get the ball, we control. But when you get in the red zone or you have the ball that long, you need to put up some points.
Right.
And I was glad to see that we're scoring more touchdowns than field goals.
Yeah. Roethlisberger's numbers were pretty decent. 36 of 51, 383 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and the 1 costly fumble. But the numbers with the yardage, that's kind of misleading because a lot of it was us always playing from behind.
Right.
So we definitely had to keep it in the air a lot more than we would on the ground.
And I do believe you very good, Big Tiz. I'm glad you mentioned that because we kind of had the running game established. We're doing really good. But when you're down, when you're playing catch up, 7 points, then it's 10 points, then it's 13 points, you have to put the ball up in the air sometime. And they were expecting that.
Right.
So things are really starting to click. Folks, if you take the stats, I want you to do some homework tonight. Go from the game 1, check out the stats. You can watch our shows, and you'll know. And just follow from 1, 2, 3 to Sunday's game against the Vikings, and look at the stats, compare and see. There's really not a big jump except for the 2 rushing touchdowns.
Right.
But you're going to see that it's getting there. It's getting there. And then when we come off a bye week and we play the Jets, that is going to be the game that's going to decide our season right there.
Exactly.
I know it's the lowly Jets, but you know what, folks? They have 2 more wins than we do.
That's true.
So it's not the lowly Jets. It's the lowly Steelers playing the somewhat lowly Jets.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the feeling out there is, you hear the stats, you hear us, basically almost saying the woe is me, but the fact is a lot of Steeler fans aren't used to being in this position, and that's why you get that effect that, you even see the smack that's on the board where a lot of Steeler fans are either they're mad, they're upset, but you know what? It happens.
That's right. And one thing, the majority, if not 95% of the people on Facebook and Twitter, we'll get to that in a few minutes, really haven't been bashing the Steelers. We've seen a lot of love.
Yeah.
That they're 0-4, everybody hates us, everybody's talking about us, but you know what? I love my team. I'm a Steeler fan forever. And that really warms me up.
Yeah, it makes you feel good to know that, you know what, that's why we talk about, with Rude Dog Reyes out there on the West Coast and bringing it back to the East Coast, because we want everybody from any team who loves another team, Cowboys, Bills, or whatever you love, we want you guys to see how strong Steeler Nation is. And that's why we even started this radio show, because we wanted you fans out there that are Steeler fans to see the love that comes out from Steeler Nation.
Right, especially in our hometown, Rochester, New York, 65 miles east of Buffalo, and 10 minutes from their training camp during the summertime. There is a big Steeler presence here in Rochester, New York. And like we talked about earlier, there's not really too much information here in Rochester about the Steelers. Unless if you search online, go to their website, thesteelers.com, or occasional blip or bleep on ESPN. They might mention us because we're either doing so good or so poor. But to get the meat and potatoes, the stuff that you folks need to know about the injuries, the stats, how we're looking, what's coming out of the Pittsburgh front office, you'll find it here on this show, Steeler Nation Live. You go to our website, www.steelernationlive.net, for all your inquiries, and you can download your Steeler photos to our website. You can leave voicemail and let us know what you're thinking on the website. There's so much. Check out the website, photos, pictures, ideas, we have little where you can vote. We have little stuff like that. It's a great, and all because of Big Tiz, the creator.
Like I said, the Steeler love is there.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Well, you know what? Let's continue on with the stats. But Bell, 16 for 57, 2 touchdowns. Like I said, phenomenal game for this guy, rookie, just coming out really in his first game. That was his outing. Pretty decent for a team that has no blocking, and I got to give him much kudos on that. And we talked about Bell earlier. Cotry, 5 for 103 yards and a touchdown. That was actually a big day for him. And in the last show, I remember saying that I don't even think Cocky was going to be around that long, and I still don't, honestly, because he's not that prolific receiver. But I believe that he is trying.
Right, I understand what you're saying because we got the young guns. Wheaton got a couple big catches, but with his veteran presence, you could take these younger kids. Well, that's what we're expecting from all the other, like Plaxico. The mature has been around.
Right.
He's been to the game. He's got a Super Bowl ring. To take these young receivers, bring them down to earth, but then also bring them back up to show them what they can do. And with Plaxico not in the picture, we have Kotri out there showing what this old man can do. You got the little competition with the hey old man and the kid who can prove the old man. That's what we need in the locker room. And by Kotri getting over 100 yards and a touchdown Sunday against the Vikings, could show these young guys that he still can do it. And I do believe that he'll be around for a couple more years. I do.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I beg to differ on that one, but we will see. And our main man, Antonio Brown, 12 for 88. Like I said, and I believe he had another. Did he have a touchdown in the game? I'm not positive.
No.
Unbelievable. I was so used to him scoring 2 touchdowns or so a game. This guy puts up big numbers, especially on fantasy.
And just the fact that he caught 12 balls. Maybe there's a couple more thrown at him the way Roethlisberger was throwing the ball all over the place.
Right.
But 12 catches, that's great. And Heath Miller, 6 catches for 70 yards. Yet to break the goal line, but that's fine. Get all the attention on the other guys so that when Heath Miller does get the shot that he is going to score a touchdown.
Exactly.
Now on the other side of the ball, the Vikings. Castles didn't have a pretty bad day. 16 for 25 for 248 yards. However, he did have 2 passing TDs. And he handed one off to, actually handed 2 off to Peterson. And 2 plays right up the middle.
Yeah.
The second touchdown he scored untouched.
Yep.
I cannot fathom when you have 4 to 6 guys lined up front that somebody could run up the middle and not be touched.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Peterson, 23 for 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. This guy, like I said, amazing numbers. I still can't believe this guy just came back from knee surgery.
Well, if you take that 160-yard run away, he's under 80. So that's typical what the Steelers do. But to give up plays like that, that's why we're 0-4.
And Simpson, wideouts for them. 7 for 124 yards, and Jennings 3 for 92. I mean, the secondary had their issues with tackling, covering, you name it. It was just a bad day overall for the defense. And sometimes I'm going to put it in perspective. The defense has been playing, I thought, pretty decent up to that point. You know, we had some lapses, but yesterday was the first time I actually seen a total breakdown. Excuse me, not yesterday, but Sunday, a total breakdown from the Steelers game.
Yeah, it was just when you're getting into the game and you believe we have a chance, something goes wrong. But folks, I can't tell you, I can't express it more. You look at from game 1 to game 4 where we're at. Yes, a loss is a loss. If you lose by 1 point or 100 points, it's still a loss. But we are constantly showing improvement and seeing improvement. And once we get it all together, the season's not over yet. And we appreciate the fans not giving up. We're 0-4, whatnot. We're not giving up. We're not asking for Tomlin's head on a plate or Haley's head on a plate. When you hear what the guys are saying from the locker room, it's pretty much, we talk about accountability, leadership, and execution. I think the guys right now are finally being accountable for their actions. And you'll hear Ryan Clark when he says, like we talked about earlier in the show, that it's more than X's and O's. It's the players not executing. So when you come to accountability and then you realize that, hey, we have a problem, we're not executing.
Right.
And that shows leadership.
That is true.
Ale.
I love
leadership. You heard it live. Big O's ale.
We got to control it tonight, guys.
Woo!
Hey, you know what? The game stats were lovely and wonderful, but you know what? Let's do some Facebook feedback and Twitter feeds to get you fans out there, and we're going to read to you guys what's been out there and what's been being said out there on the boards.
That's right. We have a couple people from Facebook, Twitter, and this is what they had to say.
And this is from Contreras. Why is it when the Cowgirls win, everyone shows up in cowgirl gear to work? But when they lose, they show up like they're going to Walmart. Yeah, that's right. I've got my gear on. That's what I'm talking about. A true Steeler fan trying to say you wear the Steeler gear when they're winning, you wear it when they're losing. Wow. And I noticed that about a lot of fans out there. They're fair weather fans. These guys, they'll wear their team jackets when the guys are winning or they're in the playoffs and things like that, and they talk a little garbage. But as soon as the losses start to pile up, you see them start hiding their jerseys. Don't be one of those guys. Hiding your jersey, scared to wear them. Be a man, man up, be a woman. Or if you're a woman, man up, woman up, wear your gear, protect your squad, love your squad, black and yellow.
That's right. And don't do something drastic like we know a couple people have done in the past. Switch teams.
Exactly.
Switch
Unbelievable.
teams.
A grown person.
A grown person. Don't mention any names, Greg. So if you're out there, you know who we're talking about.
Here's another one from the feedback of Facebook. Boss Jen, seriously, I'm in the need to slap someone.
Oh, look out.
Yeah. Learn football or don't open your mouth.
Ooh.
Or should I say, don't tell us what's on your mind. OMG.
OMG.
Ignorance, stupidity. We are 0-4, done, deal with it, move on. Stop analyzing a game if you don't know how.
That's right. I don't know if it's directed towards us. I hope not. I think we're pretty well schooled on statistics and stuff. I think she might be referring to the other people who think they know everything about the Steelers, but don't.
Right. You know, these guys, they'll see something that happens on TV. They try not to understand. They just want to bash. And again, you know what? Misery loves company. And there's a lot of guys out there that'll just bash, and don't look at the whole thing. Look at it. There's an upside to it. As well as what she's saying, we're 0-4. You have to deal with it. It's right in front of your face. You deal with it and you move on from it. Just like every game has to be a championship game for Pittsburgh right now. It has to be like they're in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, Hakuna Matata. For you younger folks out there, you know what I'm talking about? Like Rafiki said, you can either learn from it or run from it.
Exactly.
So what are you going to do?
Exactly. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go on for our final one on Facebook. Is from Jason. For all those haters out there, Pro Football's top graded pass-catching wide receivers through 4 weeks.
4 weeks. Drum roll.
Let's start off from number 4, Deshaun Jackson.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's really good. He's on my
10,
fantasy team, too.
Number 3, Jordy Nelson for the Green Bay Packers.
Great hands, great route runner. Fantastic.
Number 2, Andre Johnson from the Houston.
Oh, yeah. He's even playing hurt. This kid is unbelievable. I mean, the catches this guy made Sunday, fantastic. That's why he's on my team as well.
And number 1, Antonio Brown from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Shut up.
Like I said, a Steeler's a Steeler, baby. You got to look at some things that can help us move in a positive direction. And when you start seeing things like this, that means at least the offense is trying to gel. Like I said, we have to fix those small things, especially, and I keep alluding to those tackles on the outside. Those things are huge, but they have to be remedied.
Right. Not only do we have Facebook and Twitter shouts, we also have a couple interviews from the locker room after the game Sunday. And we're going to roll some tape here. So sit back, enjoy, and let us know. Give us some feedback. What do you think about what these players had to say? Are they on target? Are they full of it? We want to hear what you have to say. So you can Facebook us, email us at bigo@steelernationlive.net or bigtiz@steelernationlive.net. Listen to these interviews and see if these guys know what they're talking about. We'll be back after that.
That's what happens when you lose. You know, when you start to lose, you have to find a solution. If the solution isn't in the X's and O's, it has to be in the people. Obviously, what we've done around here with this regime of coaches has been successful. It's been successful. So obviously, it's not what they're teaching. It's not the way we're preparing, because that is proven that it works. So clearly, it's the people, the 11 people on the field at certain times who aren't doing what they're supposed to do. And we understand that. You know, I've been in the NFL long enough to know that Mondays after losses is times where things change. And so if we want to keep this same group in the locker room, if we want to see these same faces, we have to do something better.
Well, it's a small margin of error for victories in this league, and we're learning that every play is important, whether it be in the first quarter or the last quarter. And we have to understand that. We have to play as if the game depends on each play, and hopefully continue to improve as an offense, and just keep working at it. That's all I know.
We've done some positive things, moving the ball, possessing the ball, and controlling the clock, dictating the game towards the end. We still got to find a way to win.
Well, Big O, a lot of the Steelers out there, they seem that they realize that there is accountability out there, and they realize things aren't going well. From Roethlisberger to Ryan Clark, they realize that there are a lot of things that need to be fixed, and right now, they know it's going to be a lot of heavy head cuts coming down.
Yeah, but we're staying together. No in-house fighting, at least that we know about,
right,
which is a good thing. If we don't know about it, even if it's happening, maybe that's why we're slowly, gradually seeing a change. If it's in-house, it needs to stay in-house. All this talk about Roethlisberger and Haley don't get along, they're fighting all the time. But you know what? It's like, how can I put this? It's like, you're married, right, Big Tiz?
Yep.
Okay. Now, not all marriages are perfect. We like to think they are.
Right.
We have disagreements. Is that fair to say?
Oh, yeah.
Because I have disagreements with my wife. I'm pretty fair to say you might have them with yours.
Right.
And for somebody on the outside, it would be like them seeing you have a disagreement with your spouse and saying, you know what? They're getting divorced because of a little disagreement. Folks, we all have disagreements. Football players have their way of thinking because they're young. They think it might work this way. Coaches saying, you know what? This is how we're going to do it. You're not going to agree on everything. It's like at work as well. Your boss might have a way of telling you how to do your job. You might have it, but it doesn't mean you're going to get fired or you're going to quit. So with all this talk, hey, is everything perfect in Pittsburgh? No. 0-4? Of course it's not perfect.
Right.
But when people start saying that Tomlin's going to be fired, he's arguing with Haley, and Roethlisberger is fighting with Tomlin and Haley, or Dick LeBeau and somebody on defense, you know what, folks? They probably are. But like I said, it's just like somebody watching you and your spouse have a disagreement, then somebody going around saying, hey, they're going to get a divorce. Not true. So on that note, Big Tiz, I think we need to pay some bills.
Yep. After commercial break, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the Jets preview after this bye week. So stay tuned. Next up on Steeler Nation Live.
Uniform Express, located on 1408 Buffalo Road, Rochester, New York, for your police, fire, or EMS supplies. One of Rochester's top and finest suppliers of shirts, pants, shoes, boots, and accessories for your professional uniform needs. Uniform Express also does embroidery and screen print for team uniforms, jerseys, and corporations. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can also go to their website at www.uniformexpress.com or call Brian at 585-529-4245. That's 585-529-4245. And let Brian know you heard his ad on our show, Steeler Nation Live. Four-of-a-kind consignment and resale, Jeromesville, Ohio. Everyone knows everybody. Everyone calls your friend. You don't need an invitation. Just kick off your shoes and come on in. At Four-of-a-kind Consignment and Resale, they have antiques, vintage items, electric items, clothing, and housewares. Four-of-a-kind Consignment and Resale is a 4-generation family-owned establishment that also has Muffler and More, Spade Web Design and Publishing, and Spade Enterprises, a business that loves and cares about the community. Even though they are in Ohio, Four-of-a-kind Consignment and Resale has a ton of Steeler items for sale now and even more during the season. They're closed on Mondays, but they're open Tuesdays through Sundays. Call Heidi. Her phone number is 567-203-7858. That's Heidi at 567-203-7858. Or look for her on the web at spadeinc.com/4oak.html. They ship everywhere.
Welcome back to Steeler Nation Live. I'm Big O.
I'm Big Tiz.
And Big Tiz, we haven't talked about much of this during the show, but we need to talk about McGinney's Sports Pub, Henrietta, East River Road, the great food, the great drink specials, all the TVs that come and watch your Pittsburgh Steelers turn this thing around and win. Go see Sal. I want some chicken wings, but but with the braces here, Big Tiz, that's not happening. But you know what, Big? There's a lot of other food I can't eat. Pasta, a lot of chicken French. You could get from sit-down gourmet food to the beer food, your tater skins, your French fries, your cheese fries, your ale, your beer, your mixed drink specials. You know what, Big Tiz? We need to get something to eat after the show.
Hey, maybe we might, but you guys got to check them out at McGinney's Pub. We love being there, and we know you will too.
That's right. Big Sal, last time I was there, he wore a bikini. He was tending bar. I'm just kidding. We want you to calm down. If you know Sal, you don't want to see him in a bikini.
But you know what? Let's go on to the Jets preview. And the Jets, you know, no matter what you say, the way the Steelers are playing right now, the Jets is going to be a big task for us right now.
We don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, Big Tiz, but this is what I believe. This is gonna make or break our season. This is it. This is a team we need. Not because they're 2-2 and they're tied with the Bills, I think, in last in the division, but this is the kind of game that will boost a team's confidence. Now, the Jets are no slouch. Don't let the record show you. Just like we're 0-4 and we're no slouch.
Right.
But this is the kind of game the Steelers need, number one, to come back off a bye week and to play a team to their level somewhat right now, capable, like what we're playing right now. I'm not saying that we're compared to the Jets. You know, right now we are because of our record.
Right.
That this is the game that's going to make us or break us. We lose this game, I don't know, Big Tiz.
Yeah, I mean, especially after a bye week coming out and you get another loss, that's going to be a rough pill to swallow. So, like I said, this has to be a make or break game, and the Steelers have to show that they're trying to go into that positive direction, and they have to start with this game. And like I said, the Jets they're not really going to be a pushover. I mean, they've got Geno Smith at quarterback, and Geno in his last game against the Titans, he was 23 of 34 for 289 yards. Not bad numbers, you know, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions though. Like I said, he can be forced to make bad decisions, but the Steelers have to apply that adequate pressure to make those decisions come about.
Right, we talked about the past couple 3 quarterbacks. They're kind of guys that you get in their face, they're going to mess up. Big thing is, Tiz, we got to get in their face.
Right.
Now, the one thing that scares me about this Geno Smith is he has not one receiver he throws to. Last game against the Titans, he threw to 9 different receivers. So Dick LeBeau's got his you know, he's gonna have it tough. How is he gonna do this now?
Yeah, that's one thing, and you're right about. He's got so many levels that he has to work on, especially now with seeing some of the lapses in defense. And one thing that kind of scares me in this upcoming game is the fact that the Steelers have to control their wideouts because of that. Right. You know, you got a guy now who can run and get out in that open, which, as you can see, we lost to Tim Tebow in the playoffs of a running quarterback. And Pittsburgh lately, within the last couple of years, have had problems trying to deal with a running quarterback. So, like I said, this guy can run. His passing is a little shaky. He's a rookie, though. And the fact is that one thing we also have to keep in mind to keep under control, and mark my words, as I said on the show tonight, is we have to watch out for San Antonio Holmes.
Yeah. Because
San Antonio is a game breaker. And that's one thing he would love to do is to torch Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think he scored 1 touchdown against us last year when we played him. But we held the Jets in check last year. We did beat them. Wasn't by huge margin, 22-10 or something like that. This is the kind of game that you have to win, whether it's by 3 points or 30 points. The Steelers need to get a W playing the Jets. Now, the Jets have a mediocre, at best, I would say, running game. Somewhat like what the Steelers are going through right now.
Right.
I'm not sure if it's because Geno Smith was passing all the time, or it's because their offensive line isn't really doing their job like ours is. But you got Powell back there. He, believe it or not, he's averaging almost 5 yards a carry.
Right.
But when you're constantly playing catch-up, you have to throw the ball so you get away from the running game. So we're really not that sure of how to address the running game, other than the fact we need to plug up the middle, force them outside.
Right. Well, like I said, and that's true. With the running game, the Steelers have to control that. They have to control this guy. And I think that they can, but the fact is that they have to know that they can. Because we do have the tools to do it, but like you said, you can't bring the horse and show him how to drink the water. You can show him how to drink it, but he has to want to drink it. And that's what Steelers defense, they have to want to take control of the game and shut down the avenues. And they have to start right there, controlling the run game. Because if you can control the run game, that'll force Geno to be the one that have to beat you.
Right, and he threw a couple interceptions for turnovers against the Titans. Titans played a pretty good, tough defense.
Right.
And that's what we need to do. This is the game where we need to get some turnovers. Like I said earlier, this is the confidence builder, right? This is the game that's going to push us over the edge. We create a couple turnovers. I'm not saying pick six or whatnot. Even if we stop a couple drives with some turnovers.
Right.
That will build the defensive confidence, and that's going to push us in the right direction. And when we come out with a victory in this game, this is going to turn our season around. I know it's the Jets, folks, but right now they have 2 more wins than we do, so we really can't downplay this game. We're the underdogs, believe it or not, against the Jets. And we're going to prove to the fans, and I'm pretty sure the Steelers are going to prove to the fans, that this is the game that we take it and we turn the season around, and it's nothing but wins from here on out.
Like I said, and a lot of it too, the Steelers have to make sure they get that ground game going. This is the game you got to start trying to make that ground game gel. I mean, you had that bye week, and you're going to start to put people in the spots that they need to be in, and you got an extra week to work on it. So they have to get that ground game to start gelling. And like you said, they have to start setting up the short passes, hitting those receivers out there. Because if you can get that ground game working, that ground game is going to open up so many other avenues.
Absolutely. And what I didn't see too many, if not any, play-action fakes. I didn't see a lot of that. I saw a lot of Roethlisberger pump faking, which worked.
Right.
And I like the fact that when he was pump faking, he had 2 hands on the ball. The only problem with that is, if you're a defense, you can key on this. If you see Roethlisberger with 2 hands on the ball, he's going to pump fake it, as opposed to where he did with 1 hand and where he lost it a bunch of times.
Right.
So I like the fact that he's got 2 hands on the ball. The pump fake is working for now, but we'll see what happens next week. Not next week, in 2 weeks when we play the Jets. And
exactly.
Once we get that the short passing game, we get Heath Miller in, the running game like we started to against the Vikings, I see a victory here. I said we were going to lose 4 games. We already did that.
Hey.
So now, nothing but wins for the rest of the season.
I hope you're right, Big O, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the Steelers fans out there hope you're right as well. Hey, guys, next up, we're going to go to commercial. We're going to come back with our final thoughts of the night, and you'll get it straight from Big Tiz and Big O.
That's right. Pay some bills.
It's Spaghetti Sports Pub, located at 2246 East River Road. A perfect blend of Irish charm and Italian cuisine. From Calabria favorites like calamari to chicken French, to the new signature dish like the Steel City Deli.
The Rothless Burger.
Everything is delicious and prepared fresh for you. They offer a full lineup of your favorite beverages with drink specials daily, and don't forget their $5 Monster Bomb.
Ice cold beer.
All day, every day. With 2 floors of seating and 20 high-def televisions, there's not a bad seat in the house to catch every minute of the NFL action.
Watch what you want.
McGinty's is the official home of the Rochester Steelers fan club.
Steelers!
So come on down to McGinty's Sports Pub, 2246 East River Road in Henrietta.
At Grease Lightning, we offer fast automotive service, specializing in oil changes and auto repairs. We offer convenient yet comprehensive maintenance and repair service, fast and no appointment necessary. At Grease Lightning, we offer the best prices on top name brands. We get you in, out, and on your way
just like Grease Lightning. Grease Lightning is locally owned and operated, so come on down to 2061 Chiley Avenue here in Rochester and talk to Charles because he's in charge. You can also call Charles at 585-563-7939 or go to our website at mygreaselightning.com.
Hey guys, welcome back. Steeler Nation Live. Big Tiz.
Big O.
Hey, I'm going to give you my final thoughts for the night on the Steelers and what are some of the things they have to do. You know what? The Steelers have been placed in a bad position right now, and the only person who put the Steelers there is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has to go out now and fight for everything, claw, scratch, put it out there on the line to get this next game as a win. This will help open up different things, different avenues. The Steelers have to show that they can get this ground game going, and that's going to start with they got Le'Veon Bell, the big back they needed. The big back is running through the holes with bad blocking. So Tomlin, step up, take control of that line, get everything sorted out. You have a bye week to do it, so let's get it done. Let's get that first win under our belt because you know what was looming out there? Baltimore, right after this game. So you got the Jets coming up, and next, Baltimore comes to Pittsburgh. Big game. That's why I said this game has to be won. Because you know what? I believe the Steelers can beat Baltimore, but they have to take each game as it comes, and the Steelers right now are in playoff mode. So this is the playoffs, one and done. The Steelers have to look at it that way, and if they can look at it that way, I'm pretty sure they can get it done. So this is coming from Big Tiz. I'm letting you guys know the Steelers are still in it. Don't give up the faith. Hold it there, and we'll be there, black and yellow.
Wow. How do you follow that? But I'm going to do my best, folks. Like Big Tez said, all right, we got to start beating these teams. The main thing is we have to stop beating ourselves. Like I said earlier, from the first game to the fourth game, there is a lot of improvement. We've seen a lot of it. The running game, the receiving game, special teams kind of going the other way. But this is what we have to do. We have to start off with a game plan. We have a laundry list, a shopping list. That's the way I see it. And we have to check off these things. How are we going to defeat this team? Well, let's stop their rushing game. Let's plug the middle. Let's force them to the outside. What do we have to do? We have to establish our running game. How are we going to do that? With blocking. Straight run power blocking, not the zone blocking. Let's get the tight end. Heath Miller, who's back in. He's been doing very well since he came back. Hasn't scored a touchdown yet. But the little things that Heath does that goes unnoticed is his blocking and giving Ben a little more time to throw the ball to Brown and Sanders. And that's what we need to do. Let's establish that running game. Let's establish the passing game. Let's get the blocking in there. If we have players who aren't blocking, let's replace them. Let's give Ben some time. Let's win a game. Let's not play catch-up. Let's take the game and let's lead from the beginning. And once that happens, once we get the confidence, and that's going to happen against the Jets, like I was saying earlier, this is the game that's going to break or make our season.
Right.
Jets are no slouch right now. They have 2 more wins than we do. We're the underdog. This is where we have to create turnovers. This is going to show the defense, hey, you can do it. This is going to show the offense, hey, you can do it. And once everybody comes together as a team, there's nothing but up from here. So we're going to take this 0-4, and we're going to turn it to 1-4, then 2-4, then 3-4, then 4-4. And like Big Tiz said, the Ravens coming home after the Jets. How great would it be to invite them into our house after we just beat the Jets for our first win? That's going to be huge. That is going to be the confidence builder that we need to smash those birds. So, folks, please don't give up on us. We're turning things around. Steeler family, Steeler Nation out there, they're loving the Steelers, and that's what we need right now. We don't need any bickering. We don't need any fighting. No finger pointing. And like the guy said in the locker room today, Clark, Heath Miller, Big Ben, it's just that's the way it is. So we have to either learn from it or run from it. And I hope we learn from it. And Pittsburgh's going to win their 7th ring this year. For Steeler Nation Live, I'm Big O.
I'm Big Tiz. Hey, and also we want to thank Rude Dog Reyes doing his thing out there. Rudy, love your dog. Keep it vibing out there in the West Coast and bringing it back to the East Coast.
That's right. So when we come next time you see us, we're going to be celebrating a victory over the New York Jets.
All right.
future. And we're the name of the future. We're the name of the future. And we're the name of the future. Hey. Yeah. Shout out to the Big Teds, man. And Big O. It's still a nation, man. Yeah. Big Ted. Big O. You know what it is, man. It's still a nation, man. Big O. Big Ted. Big O. Every night on Monday night, man. 7 to 8 on Monday night. Big O. Big Teds. And it's a stump. And this is still a nation. Big Teds. Big O. It's Big Teds. Big O. It's still a nation. Big Teds. Big O. Big Teds. Big O. It's still a nation, man. Yeah. And it's a stump. Big O. Yeah, I had to say it was a stump, man. You know. Cause you know, it is a stump, man. Yeah. Big Teds. Big O. Big Teds. Big O. Yeah.